States, because most of it was imprisoned there after the Second World War, really in order to shorten the distance of the Danube River with about 400 kilometers. But actually, it was a very good occasion for the communists to get rid of their opponents. So my granddad spent there 3 years, and with a granddad like that, really, really, I grew up in a family very strong, very profound, and like but even if I was 15 during the revolution days, I really felt that that was the moment when we really had to stand up and fight for our elementary right. Among them, liberty of expression, liberty of movement, the freedom of speech, and so on. Because there were times when we didn't have some basic rights such as fees, clothes, TV programs. We had only one TV program, 2 hours daily, out of which 1 hour and a half was with Ceausescu's greatest Ceausescu's great achievements. Yeah, and only half an hour daily with crap, if I may say. So, and no heat in the houses during winters, and no warm water during winters. Each and every evening, the electricity got cut off for economic reasons. Romania exported energy in the Soviet Union back then. All phones were listened to by the secret agents, a lack of everything. And we were kept like prisoners. Despite the way some complaints addressed to the Communist Party, they chose to send the tanks on the streets to fight against civilians. So, on 21st of December 1989, Ceausescu organized a big meeting in this square, now Revolution Square, in which we, the people of Bucharest, supposed to, let's say, condemn the hooligans in Timișoara city, the westernmost city of Romania, because they dared to rise for their freedom. And, which is more important, they dared to rise against Ceausescu. At that time, Ceausescu was not in the country. He was in a visit in Iran, in Tehran. And when he heard what happened in Timișoara, he came back in Bucharest, of course, and organized his last mistake, as I like to say, because Ceausescu not only, let's say, allowed us, if I can say like that, allowed us to stay in this square, 100,000 people. He asked as well for the population to come and participate at his own meeting. Otherwise, it was kind of impossible to stay in a group, you know? Even like we can stay today, because of one absurd communist law which said that you cannot stay in a group with more than 5 people. Sounds weird? Very weird. Very weird. But actually, why it happened like that? You know, with all those changes in the former communist bloc, like the falling of the Berlin Wall, the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia, Solidarność was chosen in Poland to lead the country, Hungary opened the border with Austria, etc. While in Romania, starting with September up to December 1989, so in only 3 months, a number of around 10,000 Romanian citizens crossed illegally the border, especially with Hungary, trying to get in the free world. And the most famous transfugee was Nadia Comaneci, the famous gymnast. It was a great loss for the communists, of course. And the Communist Party, knowing the fact that usually the groups of transfugees were formed between 10 and 15, up to 15. In the case of Nadia, there were only 8. But usually, the groups of transfugees were formed between 10 and 15. The Communist Party came up with this ridiculous idea to not let us gather in more than 5. They were thinking that the form a group to cross illegally the border, yeah? Or which was worse than that. They were thinking that we'll start a protest against the regime. And maybe this is an explanation why Romania remained the last country in the former communist bloc which got rid of communism. We were not allowed to form groups in order to protest. So what to do? We had to obey. But no one thought about one thing. For example, if you were in a family with 7 kids or 8 kids, we're supposed to see those families,
Yeah.
two groups, to be no more than five in each group. And that's why I said it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that was the cruel reality back in December 1989. When Ceausescu organized his last meeting with DJ Cozy, his first mistake with us all together. And Ceausescu was very surprised when the crowd started to boo him. And after the explosions on the side of the square, the crowd split into different locations here in downtown Bucharest. And on the main boulevard, which is the University Square, you know what I'm talking about? Actually, it's the boulevard behind the buildings, the main boulevard here in downtown Bucharest. There, University Square, we created that famous barricade like in the French Revolution. But of course, this time comprising buses, cars, we had tables and chairs and even boxes with bottles. We put everything there. Actually, all the things that you can find on the restaurants on the both sides of the boulevard. And I was right there in the front line, face to face with the troops, 10, maybe 15 meters. And I was there with my best friend Radius, who was unfortunately shot there next to me. He was hit by a bullet in his hip, but his brain exploded because the army, militia, and especially the secret agents chose to use down bullets, which is explosive bullets. Yeah, or hollow points bullets. Yeah, and because of that, I can say there was blood everywhere. People died. They were forget. Some of them were shot, others ran over, but they were torn apart by the chain tracks of the tanks. It is estimated that a number of 1,200 people lost their lives for freedom. Around 4,000 people were wounded, including myself, let me see, on my left hand. And so 4,000 people were wounded, and almost 4,000 people as well were arrested, but they were liberated the next day after Ceausescu was captured. In the whole country, a number of 19 million bullets were shot. Wow. For a population of less than 24 million inhabitants, Romania had that day. And only in the capital of Romania, in Bucharest, 2 million bullets were shot for a population of, let's say, 2.5 million inhabitants. But actually, what it means, almost one bullet per person. That's for you to make a big picture of what it was during those days. But now I brought something that I would like to say. So you should prepare a cameras if you want to take 1,001 pictures, because what you see here is a piece of history. Are you ready?
Oh.
Yeah. What you can see here is a flag, but not an ordinary flag. I will do like a radar like that for everyone to take pictures, right? This flag is one of the original flags of the Romanian anti-communist revolution in 1989. You can observe there's a hole inside, right? Because before here was the communist coat of arms, and we cut it off. We cut it off, the communist emblem, and we used this flag as the flag of the Romanian Revolution. We claimed this flag as being ours. So now I don't know if you know the whole story of this flag, but this flag belonged to one of my flag keepers because even if I was 15, I personally formed and I led a group of around 200 teenagers, and I led them from this square up to the North Railway Station in 5 trucks. And by the way, one of the most famous pictures of the Romanian Revolution is with me on the top of a truck with a button like this. Have you seen that picture? More than sure, after the speech, or two guys will show you the picture. You will see me there dressed in black. I was a teenager, with a bigger mouth than I have today. And more hair, yeah, more hair and black, almost black, yeah. Actually, we arrived too late at the North Railway Station because already the person at the station washed the blood from the floor. Rumors said that people were trapped inside, executed there. So because we arrived too late, what to do in this case? Let's go back. We are useless, so we can bring our contribution back into the revolution palace square back then. And once we were outside of the Northern station looking for the drivers to pick us up, we realized that those shots disappeared. Maybe the driver stopped, they did their job just to drop us there and they left afterwards. So in this case, what to do? Let's march. March it all the way back from the Northern station to the now Revolution Square. One of my flag keepers, and you'll see the guy in the picture, by the way, who saw that. Because I was the leader of that group, I was able to take this flag. Yeah? I took this flag from the guy, I removed the stick from it, and I put it in a pocket inside my jacket. And 2 weeks after, 4th of January 1990, I know the date because that was the date when I put down my memoirs to be sent to newspapers and magazines. And I said, okay, now is the time to fix, to clarify all the things that happened during the event. So with this occasion, I made a big mistake with this flag. Papa. I watched I watched this because I consider it not presentable enough with all those blood stains on it. But I want to show you something because I didn't wash it with soap. Just with plain water. The stains of blood still remain. Can you believe? Yeah. And because of that, my friends told me to from museum. And I said, yes, of course, but not now. Let it be in 10, 20 years, 30 years. He still has a lot of work to do. He still has to spread the word about what happened during those days. Yeah. And there are already 37 years since the revolution. The flag is still here in front of your eyes. What I said, when will be 50 years from the revolution, it will be exposed in a museum with my name written there as a donor. And a friend of mine told me, you should not do this. Do not do this. I said, why? You should sell it on eBay, man. Yeah, so, but I think it will not be appreciated, you know. So more appreciated would be if we can be exposed in a museum there, you know. And I'm very proud. I want to tell you, I'm very proud of this piece of history. And I want to show you. It's just so rotten that I even think it.
Yeah.
I didn't know actually how to preserve it better. So that's why I said, let's put some tape on it. But a friend of mine, other friend of mine, told me that I should put it in a frame in order to preserve it better. So I cannot deny it. The idea is gorgeous, wonderful, but there's one problem. I cannot see myself going on the streets with a frame like that. It's not my type. Yeah, it's not my type. You're right. So that's why I prefer to have it like that in this box where I have anything just to see. These pockets. I have a lot of things, to be frank, in my pockets. I'm like a magician. You can find all the things in it, but no rabbits, no white glove, and no. Yeah, I have here a box with a small anatomy, piece of matter, which is a bullet actually. A bullet like any other bullet. You know, Tarmany one is shot already, so do not worry. But this one has an interesting story for me, and I would like to share it with you. So, December 22nd, 1989. The hour was 12 and 8 minutes. Ceausescu, being afraid that he may be lynched by the population, decided to run away, taking the helicopter from the roof of the main building, the Central Committee of the Communist Party. For those of you who had the chance to see the video clips, you can see as well 12:09 minutes. Yeah, the moment exactly on that moment, we, the crowd, broke the doors of the entrance, entered the building, conquered it, and which was more important for us, we conquered that famous balcony, which is above the entrance. Have you seen it? Yeah. For us, it was a bigger victory to conquer the balcony more than the building itself, because from the balcony, Ceausescu trusted the population. So we were, instead of Ceausescu this time, but waving flags, shouting, expressing our happiness that Ceausescu ran away. And I was as well in a corner, burning my youth Communist Party cards. Because back then, any child were obliged to be a member of the Communist Party. I was forced to be a member of the Communist Party with me. There is no thinking. As I said, standing there on the balcony, burning my red card, this particular bullet stopped 20 centimeters away from my hips. That means 8 inches, 9 inches away from my hips. And it stayed there for a year and a half, up to June 1991. Because in mid-June 1991, I was invited with my association, with my colleagues of Napoli, to visit the building, to have some talks with the authorities, to exchange impressions about the revolution, etc. And while on the balcony, telling them my story, I told them, look, I was standing here, and while I was burning my red card, this bullet stopped here in the banister. So I think the trajectory of the bullet is like this, starting to find answers for me as well, you know? And one of my friends from my group told me, shut up, you're talking too much already. You should extract it now. I said, why? We don't know when we'll be invited again. And as you can see here, I was inspired to extract it back then.
Yeah.
But the guy was right. Because the next invitation to visit the building, have some talks with the authorities, was on 2022. That means 21 years after the first invitation. That means like a lifetime, if I like lifetime. And as you can see, I was inspired. I extracted and I put it in a box, a different box, not like this one, in my bedroom, in a different place, for me as a reminder that we are actually so fragile. And during these years, the government of Romania and the presidential administration of Romania offered me 4 diplomas. 4 diplomas in which they recognized me as a fighter with special merits in the victory of the Romanian Revolution, or as a fighter with decisive role in the victory of the Romanian Revolution, and so on. And every time when I received one of those 4 diplomas, I was very proud, of course. Came home with them and I said, I have to expose them. Where to put them? Of course, in my bedroom next to the box with the bullet. But every time it happened the same. After a few days, I felt the need to remove something from there because my bedroom started to become more as a museum than a bedroom. Yeah? So I said, I have to remove something. What should I remove? Because I didn't want to remove everything. So I had to choose. And every time I chose this bullet to stay there, instead of those 4 pieces of paper, because this one made me realize that actually we're not involved. And made me realize how vulnerable we are, and we do not realize. And that's why I respect this ugly piece of metal, and that was the story behind it. And I hope you find it interesting, as it is for me. Yeah. I have told you that there were 2 million bullets shot in the closed city, right? And now, an interesting fact, and you cannot find this information in any history books yet. Half of those 2 million bullets shot in the whole city, half of them, I mean 1 million. 1 million bullets was shot only in this very split. 1 million bullets only in this area. That's why the revolutions were so important for the Romanian Revolution, for the people of the world, for our refugees. Just imagine like a carpet, yeah, of bullets and empty shells on the cobblestones. And a lot of people used to collect them for souvenirs, but as well we used to collect the cases. Some of us thought that it would be refilled, and that's why they were collecting them in order to be given to the soldiers, yeah? But I want to tell you something. Who was thinking to refill bullets in the middle of chaos? No, we were very scared, yeah? People died in every corner of the city. There were snipers all over the building. Despite this, especially teenagers used to collect them to be, as I said, to be given to the soldiers or as a souvenir. And because back then we didn't have mobile phones or pagers in order to communicate between the groups, we used applications to make other groups to pay attention when they danger, but not throwing them like that, but like this. It's a whistle, yeah? This is how we use them. In the same time, between the shooting, because from time to time shooting stopped. So we had like shooting breaks, yeah, shooting breaks, which allowed us to regroup in the square, collect, take our wounded friends to put them on the margin, on the edge, in the shade of the buildings, or dead friends as well to move them, to regroup ourselves, as I said, and to have some time for ourselves, if I may say. And we had a guy here in the square, a nice guy. You know what that guy did? He put four pieces, one next to the other, transformed them into like a pen flute, and the guy knew how to sing on them, like Gheorghe Zanfir. Have you heard Gheorghe Zanfir? You should look at it. Yes. This is how we spend our time, in the square, singing patriotic songs, especially patriotic songs. With that guy who knew how to sing on the cases, yeah. The ammunition was mostly from AK-47 Kalashnikov in production. Romania had and still has the license to produce this kind of ammunition inside of our borders, but as well is German or Czechoslovakian ammunition, like this particular one. The caliber is 7.62, let's say Soviet type caliber, yeah? Romania, even if we are part of NATO, we produce 5.65 caliber ammunition, but we continue to produce 7.62 caliber ammunition, especially to be exposed to different nations in need. Yeah? Now, especially to Ukraine, to defend itself from the invaders. Yeah. If you have any kind of questions, please feel free to put them. What I can do, I can guarantee that you will not be arrested for putting questions. It happened though. 37 years ago, if you dare to say a joke about the leadership or to put an uncomfortable political question, you could be arrested. But not anymore. We live in a democracy, so that's why we encourage everyone to put questions. So if you want to find out more, feel free. Please.
You ever run for office?
If I ran for office, if I was involved in politics, let's say like that, actually I involved myself indeed. Because after the revolution, those who participated and distinguished themselves were promoted to enter politics, and but after a few years, I quit because I realized politics is not for honorable people. So I said I consider myself an honored guy. I prefer to stay outside of the politics and activate in the civil society. Is better, I'm not forced to lie for a plate of food. I'm not forced to tell promises and not to keep them. You know what I mean? Yeah? So that's why I can say I sleep better right now, than to be a politician. I don't need a gun. I don't need bodyguards. And defend myself from the people. They elected me. You know what I mean? So no, I'm activating in the civil society. It's better. Believe me, it's wonderful to go on the street without a bodyguard. Yeah. So yeah, I think I correctly answered your question. Yeah. Any other questions? Please? Oh, please, lady.
When after we were only 5 people in the group, how was high school?
Actually, back then, it was the end of the school, so with the exception of kids, people were not allowed to form groups. Even at the church, by the way, some, let's say half, I don't know exactly the number, but around half of the churches in Bucharest, talking about Bucharest, were closed by the regime in the year 1989, especially after September. Half of them remained open, but it was quite dangerous, if I may say, to go to pray in the church, because a lot of, I will not say most of them, yeah, a lot of priests were informers. So it was very dangerous to go and confess because immediately after confession, so that's why. By the way, members of the Communist Party were not allowed to baptize their kids. They are not allowed to enter churches because they could be degraded. You know what I mean? So it was. We were living in a prison, and we were treated, as I said, like prison. So I think I heard the answer. Any other questions?